I couldn't believe that the man I had shared my first kiss with was my professor. Suddenly, it felt like the arena wasn't big enough. Professor Enzo was extremely handsome and incredibly muscular. I ran my eyes from his gorgeous gray eyes down to his incredible 8-pack abs. His arms were large, and I could see small veins appearing around his biceps. His dark, wavy hair was kind of shaggy, dancing around his broad and manly features. He had sweat beading on his forehead and dripping down the side of his face, and some more sweat on his chest, dripping down his torso. My face instantly began to redden as he walked toward me.
"Can I help you with something?"
he asked, raising his brows and meeting my eyes. "Sorry, I just transferred to this class," I say to him, showing him my printed schedule. "I'm Lila." He looked at the schedule briefly, silence growing thick between us as he pulled his eyes from the schedule and back onto my face.
"You can join the other students,"
he said, turning away from me. My eyes widened as I glanced at the others who were still fighting in their wolf forms. I swallowed the lump that had formed in my throat. "Actually, I can't shift," I say quickly before he's able to walk away. He freezes. For a moment, I thought I heard a low growl in the depth of his throat.
"What?"
he asked in a disbelieving and slightly annoyed tone. He turned back, and I saw that his gray eyes were now dark and threatening.
"What do you mean you can't shift?"
"I mean, I haven't gotten my wolf yet," I tell him, biting my lip hard. He glanced down at my mouth, staring as I chewed my bottom lip nervously. I could feel heat circulating my features. My heart was pounding so quickly and loudly against my chest, I thought he would be able to hear it.
"Why are you in a shifting and combat class if you can't shift?"
"I'm good at combat," I answer. "Just because I don't have a wolf doesn't mean I'm not capable. I've been practicing my entire life. Let me show you what I can do."
"I don't have time to babysit,"
he muttered, sounding incredibly annoyed.
"Besides,"
he added,
"I don't have a partner for you. All of my students fight in their wolf forms."
"I can train with her," a she-wolf said as she shifted back into her human form. She had a kind face. Her hair was short and dark. Her eyes were big and brown with long lashes. She was looking at me fondly with a sweet smile. "I don't mind," she said again, pulling her eyes from me to look at Professor Enzo.
"Fine,"
he said. He walked away without another word. "I'm Becca," she said, holding her hand out for me to shake. I took it, returning her smile. "It's nice to meet you," I say in return. "I'm Lila." "Oh, trust me, I know exactly who you are. I also hear you are one of the best fighters in this school. Professor E would have been stupid to turn you away." I couldn't help but laugh at her words. This was my first year at this school, and I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that word travels fast. I'm known around Elysium for my combat and clever mind, but we weren't in Elysium. We were in Hagala, the largest city outside of Elysium. "I appreciate your kind words," I say in return, and I meant that. She went to say something else, but her words fell short when we heard another, more familiar voice. "Well, look who it is," Sarah scoffed. "If it isn't the little slut, coming to play with the big dogs." I rose my brows. She was calling me a slut? After I just caught her making out with my boyfriend. "Though I shouldn't be surprised," she said, her tone growing icy as she glanced behind her shoulder at Professor Enzo, who was staring in our direction, with a crease forming between his brows and his frown deepening. "Considering how much you like Professor Enzo, it's a no-brainer that you transfer to his class." "I'm here to practice my combat skills like everyone else." This made her laugh. "Please, the only skills you are practicing are the skills with your lips." "She's actually a very capable fighter," Becca chimed in. "That's rich, coming from a lowly Omega." Sarah sneered, causing Becca to flinch. "Your kind shouldn't even be allowed at this school." Becca looked genuinely hurt by her words. Ew, Sarah, why are you even talking to that Omega? Another girl said, stepping beside her. Both girls laughed, and I saw Becca's face reddening as she lowered her gaze. Omegas are nothing but trash, Sarah agreed. But what's worse than an Omega is someone who can't even shift into their woof. It's no wonder your boyfriend wanted my lips instead of yours. I stepped in front of Becca, blocking her out of sight of the other wolves. What gives you the right to decide if an Omega is capable or not? I happen to have seen her fight only moments ago, and she seemed quite capable to me. It's my understanding that we are at this school to learn. So let's not cause issues for one another, I said, staring around at their faces. As far as my boyfriend goes, I say, meeting Sarah's eyes, he's clearly not man enough to be able to handle me. So, he's all yours. Without another word, I grab Becca's wrist and pull her along with me to a different part of the arena and away from the nasty she-wolves. I got another glimpse of Professor Enzo as we passed, and I thought I saw a smile tugging at the corner of his lips. Thank you for standing up for me, Becca said in a low tone once we were a distance away. I'm used to being bullied, though. Omegas aren't typically liked around here. I rose my brows at her, confused. Why? I asked. Some of the best wolves I know are Omegas. They are incredibly kind and genuine. Don't let bullies like that make you think otherwise. She beamed a wide smile at me. I could tell she felt a lot better. It's obvious some people here don't recognize you as Alpha Bastion's daughter. Let's show them what you can do. I smiled at her words. That sounded like a perfect idea. I couldn't shift into my wolf form, which meant I needed to wow them in other ways. I faced Becca, getting into the stance I was most comfortable in. Soon, we were both fighting. I stepped, lightly, on her chest, pinning her to the ground with the sphere pointed directly at her. She stared up at me with awe. Everybody gasped. I looked around, almost forgetting that there was an audience. None of them spoke for a long while, until a couple of them clapped. Then, almost everyone started cheering. Everyone except Sarah and her friend. I smiled, pleased, taking my foot off Becca and helping her to her feet. That was incredible, she breathed, staring at me with wide eyes. It was nothing, I shrugged, putting the sphere back on the rack. I turned to see Professor Enzo staring at me, his arms folded across his chest and his face expressionless. Before I could approach him and ask him what he thought, I heard beeping going across the arena. I frowned as I realized it was everybody's phone. As they all went to check their phones, I heard the gasps and saw the shocked expressions. Becca covered her mouth with her hand as she stared at her own phone. What's going on? I asked, glancing over her shoulder. As soon as I saw what they were all looking at, my heart plummeted into my stomach. It was a picture of me, kissing Professor Enzo.